Okay, so it's New Year's Eve. So tomorrow is obviously the 1st of January 2024. So this is what I am looking forward to in the world of sports in 2024. Now, there's some big things happening in the next 12 months. But before we delve into what I'm looking forward to and things like that, and of course, I would love for you guys to place in the comments section below what sporting events and sports stories you want to see resolved in 2024 in the comments section below. I want to apologise for the lack of content over the last month or so, last few weeks. Firstly, with my regular day job, because I do have a regular day job, obviously this time of year is hectic for most industries. I'm in the waste disposal industry, and that's the most busy time of the year for us. So there's that. So my shift patterns have been all over the place and will continue to be all over the place for the next little while. So that will impact schedule uploads and how much content I produce. But that's been a big burner of my energy, just trying to, earlier starts, disrupted finishing times. Also, I've been ill, and you can tell with my voice, I have been ill. It's been horrible. I've had this horrible chesty cough virus. It's my workplace, a lot of my work colleagues, some of them have had it for a couple of months. They've been struggling with this flu-like virus that isn't the COVID, but is a horrible, like block-nosed, heavy chest. We've had a couple of guys with pneumonia. So my workplace, we've had it bad. We've been short-staffed, and a lot of people are off sick at the moment, so it's just been a nightmare. But apologies for all that. Let's dive into what's actually coming up in the next 12 months that I'm looking forward to. Now, I'm going to try and not rant about the situation with rugby league and with the RFL and IMG. I am kind of glad the London Broncos are back, and I will discuss them being back in Super League and what the potential future holds, which is uncertainty for all clubs apart from seven. 7 clubs have got certainty post 2024. The rest of the rugby league pyramid does not. So there will be a discussion about that, and I will do videos in due course about the RFL's relationship with IMG, the grading criteria, and what's happening, and will those Grade B clubs that they want to keep in Super League and those that are outside wanting to potentially go up the ladder, can they meet the criteria, etc., etc., and will promotion relegation disappear again? Will we go back to licensing, which was a failure last time, and can the game become sustainable? We'll discuss that. But first up, the Euros. The Euros is potentially the biggest, maybe the second biggest sporting event in the next 12 months after the Olympics. Now, that's been hosted by Germany. It could be potentially stadium and surrounding district zones could be alcohol free. That's the one controversy. A lot of pressure on Germany, Italy, and England as 3 of the favourites. Germany being the hosts. Recent tournaments they've struggled. Italy missed out on the last World Cup, and England underperformed at the last World Cup. A lot of spotlight on those teams. Also Spain as well, haven't necessarily been at their best in tournaments. Great in qualifying. A lot of spotlight on France, for example, World Cup finalists. I think it's going to be an open tournament. I think some big nations are going to struggle to get past maybe the second round. And I think some underrated, lesser nations could do what Greece did in 2004 and really upscale and overachieve. So we could see a surprise winner. We could see some big shocks in the Euros. Looking forward to it. The Olympics, however, not so much. There's been controversy in the build-up to this Olympics. There's a fraud investigation surrounding embezzlement in regards to the organising committee and one of the infrastructure companies tasked with building the venues. It's been a very controversial Olympics. Security's been a big issue. Ticketing's been an issue. And it's an Olympic Games, so spending on the Games has been an issue. And of course, when they announced the investigation into the financial mismanagement of this Olympics, the French also pulled out of hosting the Rugby League World Cup in regards to costs. So have the French government overextended themselves financially in just bidding for all these major sporting events, getting these sporting events and being able to host them at a high standard? Security's been a massive concern, especially with the Stade de France. There were some issues at the Rugby World Cup with issues with the ticketing. There were issues when the Champions League final was obviously hosted at the Stade de France not that long ago between Real Madrid and Liverpool, especially with local criminality and issues with the securities. There's a lot of spotlight on this Olympic Games for all the wrong reasons. But it's going to be controversial. There's going to be some controversy. Will the Russian and Belarusian athletes be allowed to compete freely? Will there still be restrictions, etc., etc.? Will it be a success? Will it make money? Will it lose money? All that to look forward to in the summer. The 2024 NRL Games in Vegas. It's the first weekend doubleheader in a 5-year plan that the NRL signed up to. Very controversial themselves. I'm in favour of them playing games in Vegas for the right reasons. However, as time goes on, I have some concerns about the motives of the NRL. Yes, they're going to make a lot of money from the gambling sponsorship and the sponsors the corporate sponsors in Nevada and on the west coast of the US they've signed up to sponsor and get their adverts out. However, what is the long-term plan? Not only for the game in North America, how much money are they going to invest? Are they going to actually get this NRL Combine idea off the ground where they look at the best athletic talent that could potentially go over to Australia, New Zealand and play rugby league? How much money they make from this is going to be reinvested not only back in Queensland and New South Wales into the state leagues and into the grassroots game, but also in growing the game in Australia and New Zealand to like the South Island of New Zealand, Western Australia, State of Victoria, South Australia, actually growing the game domestically in Australia, improving the level of funding and infrastructure projects for the game, community projects. They've taken some money out of the community budget. How much will go back into the domestic game? How much infrastructure development and player development and support the game in the US and Canada will we see? Or is this just a pure cash grab by the NRL over the next 5 years? But I'm looking forward to the games in Vegas. It's a risky venture. We were here with the NFL though in Europe in 2007, and look at the success that has been. So marketing's been a key part of their strategy. I think there is a potential audience in the US. It has been divisive online. One question I do have though is Aaron Woods as a player going over with the Manly Sea Eagles rather than as an ex-player going over as the expert, as a media commentator. I think this is Aaron Woods' last season. He's quite good on the commentary. He's quite knowledgeable. He has a radio segment on Triple M. He's done some commentary for Fox Sports in Australia. He's probably not going to be one of the players taking the field for the Sea Eagles game in the doubleheader. Let's be honest. But he was the Sea Eagles face. That's been panned on social media. But hey, living in people's heads rent free is a thing. I don't think he cares. Somehow Aaron Woods has got a sense of humour. But I am looking forward to those games. I've covered them extensively on the channel. I'm a massive, obviously, NRL fan. However, the Canberra Raiders would have been a perfect choice to go because the Las Vegas Raiders Allegiant Stadium, that would have been a great marketing ploy, but it's a thing. I am looking forward to them. I do have some reservations. I understand why people have different views on the NRL games in Vegas, partly because the team's going, etc., but it's something to look forward to. Now, as I said, London Broncos back in Super League. Now, will this be a one-season wonder because of the IMG grading criteria, or actually, will they be there in 2025? Either way, I'm just glad they're back. It's going to be fun seeing how they do. I've been following the Broncos since the early 90s when I was a kid. So I've got fond memories of the Broncos in the 90s and the early 2000s. And obviously, they're a bit of a team that likes to wander around London in the southeast for a home stadium. They currently play at Plough Lane, which is the home of AFC Wimbledon, which is an all-seater stadium in southwest London. It's going to be interesting how they do in their first season back. Look, they're the ultimate underdog team. But could they do what the Lee Leopards did last year? It's possible, but with the grading criteria that IMG has been tasked with bringing in by the RFL, I have grave concerns not only about the London Broncos' future in Super League, but Super League and rugby league in this country in general. So for those viewing outside of the UK and France, because obviously there's Toulouse and Catalan involved in rugby league as well in the Super League, Championship, League One structure. Yeah, I have grave concerns. I've looked at how each team ranked on the grading. There are multiple Super League sides for this season, including the London Broncos, who are graded B. About half of Super League is not graded at A grade, which is concerning. The grading system seems to favour basically 7 clubs. In reality, 4 of those clubs. 3 of them squeak into grade A by millimetres. I'm not sure that the way they've structured how the grading is done makes any sense, because London Broncos, for example, have a great academy system. They've really identified athletic talent. Doesn't matter what background these young lads, they're union players, or if they've always been interested in league, or whatever background they've got, in whatever sporting background they have, they've identified athletic talent that is now coming through their system to fill out their senior roster. But that does not come under the grading criteria. Winning the championship grand final, basically, doesn't come under the grading criteria. So they won on the field when they had to last year in the championship, in the promotion push, and got promoted by what they did on the field. Does not matter. Lee Leopards, their spending is what's got them graded higher. Yeah, they win the Challenge Cup as well, which also helps. Without winning the Challenge Cup, without the spending Lee Leopards put in, they would not be as highly graded as they are. So what this grading is doing is forcing teams graded B or C to overspend money they don't have at a time when there is no money in the economy. What the RFL wants and what is actually feasible is two different things. The RFL wants every club to basically upgrade themselves, basically, which is just not feasible. They want to expand the Super League, whilst at the same time saying that with this expanded Super League, half the clubs don't make the Super League grade by 2025, 2026. Hypothetically, London Broncos could win both grand finals, Super League and Challenge Cup, and still technically, depending on how other teams are graded, get relegated and thrown out the league. Which makes no logical sense if the RFL's statement when they had an AGM, I think just before COVID in 2019, was to grow the game in the Midlands and the south of England. Surely that goes all against that. So we may see the London Broncos just shoehorned in when they have a terrible season, but they could have a fantastic season, but under IMG criteria, don't make the cut because they're going to force Grade B sides, that includes half of Super League, to basically put their hand up and apply for an operating licence. We've had licensing before in Super League. It didn't last very long. It didn't work particularly well and hindered the Championship and League One clubs from taking that next step and by virtue of what they're doing on and off the field, getting up there. Because we have a promotion relegation system, which is what the RFL and IMG, being an American consortium, do not understand. So that's my views on that. Bit of a rant out the way, but I am glad that Broncos are back in Super League. Back to the NRL. Can Penrith do 4 premierships in a row? Can they four-peat? Which would basically mean they would be gone to 5 consecutive grand finals. Now, the other issue they have is can they win a World Club Challenge? Yeah, they've never won a World Club Challenge. They lost at home against St Helens beginning of this year in the rain, in typically, as a lot of fans said, English conditions. They're playing Wigan in the Northern Hemisphere winter, and we're predicted to have a very, very crap winter weather-wise. We've had a lot of rain and snow, depending where you are in the UK already. And World Club Challenge in February up in Wigan. That could potentially be a very, very Penrith, regardless of what they've done on the field in the NRL, noticeably they have struggled in wet conditions. Their win rate in the wet last year was 0 games. They won no games in the rain last year. All their losses came in wet weather conditions, including the World Club Challenge. The likelihood of rain, potentially sleet or snow in the World Club Challenges is quite high in February. You're more likely to see a blizzard in February than on Christmas Day, although we did technically have a white Christmas here in the UK. So Penrith, two unanswered questions I want to see answered next year is can they win 4 NRL premierships in a row, and can they win a World Club Challenge for the first time ever? Double IHF World Championships, talking about winter weather. I always love watching the World Championship Ice Hockey. Now, the reason why I'm really looking forward to it this year and why it's a discussion point is the NHL obviously has had proposals of a World Cup. They also are really keen on allowing the players back to the Olympics, which they were meant to go to in Beijing at the last Winter Olympics, but because of the Chinese government protocols around the pandemic, the players pulled out really late at the last minute when the NHL had already scheduled their season. So the NHL has come up with an idea of having a World Cup. Yeah, the World Cup they had back in 2016 was a bit of a what is this? And the one they had in the early 2000s was interesting, which was basically the World Championships. We had a lockout that year. I don't think we actually need a World Cup format. We have that every year with the World Championships, and it's going to be interesting. But I'm really looking forward to the World Championships. The UK, Great Britain, Northern Ireland, the UK, are back in the top flight of the World Championships again. Ultimate underdogs. I love watching my home nation play because I like an underdog story. But the Elite League and the National League have gone up the league ranking standings. So our top tier, which is the EIHL, and our secondary tier, the NIHL, are now going up the gradings when it comes to ranking the national domestic leagues. They are improving. The quality is improving. that we are seeing more homegrown talent playing and playing at a decent standard to get noticed by North American scouts. So I am looking forward to the World Championships. I watch some IIHF World Championship games every year. This past World Championships, I watched most of the games. Of course, with work commitments, I didn't get to see all the games, which was unfortunate. And of course, whenever Great Britain are playing, for example, geo-block, which is an absolute pain in the arse unless I want to pay for a VPN, which I don't want to do. But it's nice watching the World Championships. There've been some fun stories come out of them, and some great talents been unearthed that have ended up going over to the NHL to have great careers. So there we go. That's the major sporting events that I want to look at. Now, final thing, and I will do a video on this. I've got to do a lot of research and a lot of reading on this, but the Oakland A's stadium plans, will we finally get to see them? Now, the reason why the Oakland A's are moving, well, they've been given permission to move to Las Vegas, but the whole thing is a shambles, really. Las Vegas doesn't want the A's, as they are. They want to rebrand and have a Vegas type. Basically, baseball fans in Vegas are like, why do we have to get this failure? Oakland fans are like, why is this team run so badly by ownership? And the Major League Baseball's like, we just need to find a location where this team can actually have some kind of stability. Basically, Major League Baseball's made a mess of governing its sport. Vegas, if it's to work in Vegas, rebrand completely. Now, Oakland A's front office want to keep the Athletics part of the name and the Athletics colours, which is not going down well with the residents and fans in Las Vegas. Quick tip: if you want to actually make it a success, you can keep the A part of the Oakland A's name. Just call them the Las Vegas Aces and have the mascot called Blackjack. And black and white and gold colouring, and you've just rebranded the team, and Vegas will buy into that because their other sports teams basically have gold and black and grey and white in their colour schemes. It's a no-brainer. You just have an A with the 4 suits of cards, so hearts, diamonds, spades, and clubs, and an LV in there, like on a playing card type thing. And guess what? You've rebranded the team really successfully. The mascot's called Blackjack. There you go. But the issue with the Oakland A's right now is their new stadium plans. We were meant to have renderings at the beginning of the month. Things happened in Las Vegas, which meant a postponement, which was the right thing to do. They've been discussed to death by others, and I'm not going to go into. There were 2 tragedies. One of them was a mass shooting. One of them involved the deaths of 2 Clark County sheriffs at a traffic stop, where another vehicle hit them. And then, of course, it's Las Vegas, so everything's happening a lot of the time. You've obviously got the Super Bowl taking place. The NRL had their media day not long after the postponement of announcing the plans. The only time they really have, honestly, in the next few months to really get eyeballs on the stadium plans without really shitting on everyone else's parade is in the next month. It's the expos, so it's the expo season where trade shows take place at the exhibition centres and hotels along the strip. Industry shows are taking place, so attention is not on the Super Bowl, the NRL games, the Golden Knights are always got games playing. The Stanley Cup playoffs haven't occurred yet. They could use what's happening with the quietness in Vegas on a sporting front in the next month. The only other time they can really potentially, start announcing stadium plans would be after the start of training camp, after the Super Bowl, but before the NRL come to Vegas at the beginning of March, which would be the second half of February or the second half of March. But I'm looking forward to seeing what stadium plans, when the renderings come out, what the proposals for the new stadium on the old Tropicana site look like. But at the moment, sports fans in Vegas, the community in Vegas, aren't overly keen on the current branding of the A's going to Las Vegas, as the Athletics. A rebrand, the Aces or the Blackjacks, just dropping it out there. There were names that were broached before when the Golden Knights were in expansion mode and trying to find a name, and were ranked quite highly on the list of potential team names. It's quite easy to rebrand. Front office, though, they're just transplanting one problem from Oakland in California to the next state in Nevada. The team is still going to be bad. There doesn't seem to be a real coherent plan here, but I am looking forward to seeing what the stadium looks like. So for me, that's the things I'm looking forward to. Oh yeah, FA Cup 3rd round as well. I like watching the FA Cup. all the way from the third round to the final. That's going to be really interesting. And of course, Challenge Cup final as well. It's going to be interesting as well. But that's basically what I'm looking forward to over the next 12 months. Obviously, there's a lot of motorsport. I'm really obviously a massive fan of the European and Asian Le Mans series. Asian Le Mans series restarts. They've had the first 2 races beginning of February, and the European Le Mans series starts in April. There are some structural changes to the World Endurance Championship and the European Le Mans series with class changes and also car regulation changes. But either way, they're going to be fun to watch when I do get to watch them from the beginning of February till basically December, when the last races, well, the first races of the Asian Le Mans series take place at the beginning of their 2024-2025 season. Always love watching those endurance races, those 4 to 6 hour races. They're great fun. And the World Endurance Series, races go from 6 to 24 hours. They're fun. IMSA as well. Their season starts next month. And then, of course, we've got NASCAR and IndyCar as well. I love my motorsport, so I'm looking forward to those as well. But that's just general every year. But these are the big things that I'm looking forward to in the next 12 months. Thank you very much for watching. Place in the comment section below what major sporting events and sports stories you're going to be following and watching over the next 12 months. And from me, for now, thank you very much for watching. And I'll have some more content for you very, very soon.